Stefan from Question Base, one of the co-founders, and today I'll give you an overview of what is Question Base and what are some of the use cases where we see the product excelling. All right, so what is Question Base in a nutshell? Question Base is essentially an answer agent that uses your company documentation as a source and proactively responds to questions in Slack. So the way that it works is you first connect it to one of your documentation sources. This could be Intercom, it could be Google Docs. Well, a lot of the enterprise customers that we see using Google Docs. It's crunching that information and creates essentially a map of it. And then you assign it to a channel. And what it's going to do there, it will proactively seek out to be helpful. So you can give it instructions of how it should be formulating its answers, as well as like additional answer context, which is basically for industries where there's a lot of acronyms or like very industry specific type of knowledge. Like this is super helpful. So let me show you like how it works. Let's say that starts with something basic. Hey, I lost my company card. How do I get a new one? The beautiful thing about it is that the end users, essentially, like employees, like they don't need to change their behavior. All they gotta do is just do the thing that they normally do, which is ask their questions. So what's happening is that the agent evaluates like this message that and says, oh, okay, like there is actually something of a question there. And then I'm just gonna squeeze that one. Then it runs a search inside of the database. And if it has high enough confidence, it provides an answer. So in this case, we can see that it's using Notion as a source, as well as like several items from the question-based answer bank. So what is the answer bank? Well, the answer bank is a collection of questions and answers that have been saved over time from conversations. This is like the really amazing thing about it. So let's just go ahead and like this was helpful. So this is an example where there is documentation and there is a high confidence. So what happens when there is no documentation existing? So let's see. We have a demo call with the Slack marketing team. Who is our contact there? Okay, so same thing is gonna happen. Essentially, it will detect that this is a work-related question. And by the way, like the way that we fine-tune like this detection is with this prompt here, which is which questions to ignore. Because like we're doing like this kind of proactive way of working, you can give it instructions like what things not to react to. And in this case, it's like informal conversations, task delegation, coordination, etc., which essentially allows the agent to be proactively chiming in whenever it can be helpful. And in this case, because there is nothing in our database about the Slack marketing team, this essentially flags it as a new question. So several amazing things happen right now. So first of all, because we have like this thing that we call support mode enabled, it gives it this kind of like red circle. So here, everybody on the team that is essentially an editor will have like this overview and they can see what are like open questions that require assistance, where the answer agent, which essentially works as the first line of defense, didn't manage like to find an answer. So knowledge managers inside of our customers, they use this in order like to see where is it that it requires their attention. Okay, so here I can just say our contact is Greg. His email is greg@slack.com. Okay. So once I'm happy with the answer, and by the way, like this could be an entire thread of a conversation, I can just hit mark resolved and it will analyze the thread. There could be like several back and forth questions and answers. And then what it's going to do is just extract anything that could be helpful and reused in the future. So in this case, I'm just going to save this and I can assign it a category. So this is going to be just general. I save it. So next time when somebody asks, for example, hey, I am having a meeting with the Slack team. Do we have a contact in there? What it's going to do is it will use that new item, new answer that we solved in order like to respond to this question. So we can see here it detected it, it's searching for it, and then I can see the answer here. So keep in mind, like all these are AI generated answers, but they're only based on the context of the documentation. So this essentially puts the knowledge managers in control of the answers that the question base is providing, which is very important because for a lot of our customers, it's very, very, very important that the answer agent uses very precise wording and responds like to the questions without deviating, without creating hallucinations. So this is one of the things where you essentially take advantage of the natural behavior of people, because Slack is more than just a place where we communicate. It's actually a place where we document a lot of our knowledge. We don't look at it this way because it doesn't feel like documentation, but every single interaction, which is a question and answer, is essentially creating like verified information, verified knowledge that question base allows to be saved and reused. So for example, here in the answer bank, I can see that we have like this new item that has been added to. So here in the dashboard, this is our demo environment, so it's like the data is a little bit off the charts, but the main purpose is that you can have for the first time like a view of the effectiveness and like the speed of resolution on your answer agents, on your team, and then you can really start digging into, all right, from all these questions, what is it? What are like some new questions that have been, for example, asked, last week, maybe like the week before. So this kind of like gives people the ability like to understand what is the missing knowledge, what is it that people seek out as answers. So this is, in a nutshell, like there is a lot of, probably not a lot, but like several like key things in terms of additional control. Here is like how new answers are saved, as well as like the documentation language. And there is like the ability to, per channel, like to give it extra instructions, which means right here, like the channel context, which is, again, it's about fine tuning. Like this is especially helpful like in companies that are above 100 people, companies that are heavily reliant on documentation, companies where, like in education or fintech, where there is like high importance on medical as well, high importance on the clarity of answers, where there is people that are already doing essentially what question base is doing. They are constantly in the different channels and they're responding like to all these questions. And question base is a first line of defense. It will 100% successfully respond to all the repetitive questions and to everything that it doesn't know. It's going to help these teams save it. So it substitutes the grunt work, the redundant work, and it allows these knowledge managers really like to focus on curation and fine-tuning like their documentation and making sure that the answer agent has quality data to work with. Because let's be honest, it's not a magic solution. It's only as good as the documentation that it's going to use as a source. So this is it in a nutshell. It's an answer agent that is using your company documentation as a source to answer questions proactively in the channels that you added to. Oh, and by the way, one last thing. You can also use Slack history. So we're only doing like up to 90 days. And it can crunch the data from a specific channel, and it will essentially generate these questions and answers for the team to verify them. So yeah, it's something that we see adding a lot of value in companies that are very, very rich in documentation and where there's like a clear ownership. Hope this was helpful. It was a pleasure like to walk you through our product, and hope you have a great day.